Hey everybody, it's Chris again, and tonight's disc review is going to be the Westside Discs Fortress. It's going to be in both VIP and TP plastic, and that actually is important for this review because they do fly a little bit differently. The TP is going to be a straighter disc, not as aggressive a fade, and for me, longer. In this video, you're going to see me throwing it in the field, me on courses, Jason Wilder in the field and then his commentary, and then Dan Mouw in the field and his commentary as well. But a couple things I want to talk about. This is a 2 centimeter rim disc, which puts it in the 9-10 speed category. This is definitely a 10. For me, it felt even faster. This is going to be a fantastic disc for a little bit slower arms that struggle with those 12-13 speed drivers that are overstable, because this is going to fit comfortably in the hand, similar to an Escape or a Convict, but it's going to feel faster, or at least for me it feels faster. The rim is a little bit sharper than some of those other discs, and I'm actually going to put some photos in here so you can see that comparison against a Convict, against a Felon, and against an Escape. And you're going to see that nice concave wing, which I think adds the stability to it. I could be completely making that up. If I am, I apologize. But this disc performs super well. The biggest problem I had with it was I was overthrowing it. Because it is faster than the Felon or the Convict, which I normally throw, I was missing my lines because I was hitting the trees or the bushes or whatever long of where I was targeting. That's a fun problem to have because it means you can adjust and it means you can do a lot of things with it. It was falling right in between where I normally throw my Felons and Convicts and where I normally throw my Sheriffs and Defenders. So if you're looking for something in that slot, or if you're a slower arm that struggles with those faster speed discs, the Fortress could be a fantastic slot or a fantastic disc for you in those in that range. Again, sharp rim, feels really fast. You're going to get to see me throwing this TP on really long throws in the field, and the VIP handles headwind beautifully, very similar to a Felon, maybe a little bit less overstable, but very close. So, if you have any questions or comments, as always, please put it below so I can get back to you. But otherwise, let's let this video speak for itself a little bit. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. Here we go out into the field. Here's my first throw with the TP Fortress. I knew from watching Dan and Jason that it was a little bit flatter thrower than the VIP. And here you can see that nice straight line with a little bit of fade at the end, healthy fade. And then the VIP with a little bit of flex because I knew it was more overstable. Again, here's that extra stability. I do think this is going to be a reasonable Westside replacement for a disc like the Felon, but I also, like I said in the preview, do think it's faster. Here's a flex line, the first of 2 flex lines with the TP Fortress, and both of them covered over 400 feet out into that outfield, or into the infield out there. This was a bad misfire, way off my line, scared me a little bit with my dad and son over there. But here's that long flex. Again, a little more height, a little more turnover, and this thing's going to cover, I think it was 425 feet, which for me with a 9-10 speed disc is pretty impressive. One more time with the VIP, that extra stability kicking in, that nice hard left fade. It's going to fill a lot of people's bags. So out to the course, the goal here is to throw a fairly flat disc and have it fade left into the gap, and the TP was just too fast and too straight to hit that. Fortunately, it punched through some of those trees. But here's the VIP on a similar line. You're going to see that extra stability from the plastic kicking in, and it's actually going to flare skip into the gap for me. With almost every video I do, people ask, well, how does it forehand? So here's a couple shots of me throwing it forehand, and what I will tell you is these both look nice, but please realize this is 2 out of like 30. I am a really bad forehand thrower, but they do feel comfortable in the hand and they do have good speed. Alright, so going back to a throw I can actually commentate on. Here I'm trying to skip off the top of the hill to go out into the open. This is the same way I'd throw a Convict or a Longbowman or a Culverin. This disc just seems a little bit faster. Here's a TP Fortress going around the outside of those big trees on the end. And it's going to skip right up next to the bucket. Again, this is a very similar to shot where I would throw a Convict, Culverin type thing. And hole 18 at Acorn, this is a 450-foot pull. I didn't get within 50 feet on either throw, but you can see get to almost the top of the hill with the VIP on a nice anti-tilt, and with a little bit of flex on the TP, I actually crested the hill. This was a really good throw for me, actually. So here's forehand number 3 out of 40 at this point. So I can almost make it look good, but I promise it's deception in editing. Back to the backhand. What it comes down to with these two discs, I think for me, is the TP with that straighter flight still is overstable, but if you give it the height and the ability to fade left, it's going to do great things for you. Whereas the VIP you can put on a lower line drive and expect that aggressive fade to kick in, and you're going to get nice skips out of it. So where the TP ended up left of the basket, the VIP hits on an aggressive right skip and goes behind it. Again, TP, give it height, give it time to fade, ends up with a beautiful shot. VIP, you're going to see, again, a little bit lower line drive, more aggressive fade, skip behind the basket. So comparisons, as I said, I think the TP reminds me more of like the Culver and Convict area, but I think it has a little bit harder fade than the Convict. Whereas the VIP, I think, compares more favorably to like a Lucid Felon. Maybe not quite as overstable as a brand new Lucid Felon, but definitely overstable and definitely fast. If you watch the Pine review, you'll know Jason's still wearing the same shirt because it's from the same day. I really appreciate, once again, Dan and Jason coming out to help me out with these reviews on days where I wasn't really able to throw. Here you can see Jason warming up. The TP was a little bit straight with heavy fade. VIP starts to fade almost immediately out of his hand. Here's a stacked view. The next two are going to be like this: TP on top, VIP on bottom. Jason, I think, really clicked with this disc. It was one that just seemed to fit his hand. He was hitting his lines. He was dropping them right where he wanted them. And he was regularly putting these discs pretty close to each other, which I actually struggled with because of the differences in stability most of the time. So again, here's TP versus VIP. Jason had these dialed in, and I'll let him do commentary for you after that.
The next one is the Westside Discs Fortress. I threw it in VIP and tournament plastic. I found the VIP certainly to be more overstable than the tournament plastic. Felon throwers are probably going to like this. It was reliably overstable for me. For my throwing style and arm speed, I could see myself throwing the tournament plastic more than the VIP, just because of how hard this one faded for me. So, but again, very reliable, felt good in the hand. I like both of them.
So then we move on to Dan. Dan was having a bit of a rough day with release angles, but these videos do give you an idea of how overstable these discs are, especially with a little bit of a slower arm speed. The VIP with that really hard fade, the TP is going a little bit straighter, a little bit gentler fade. But here we go against a beat-up Lucid Felon, VIP on bottom. You see the Felon with that nice gentle left drift, whereas the VIP has started to come down on a pretty sharp angle at this point, especially from that height. And in the last video, he actually does tilt the Felon pretty well in this one. So you get a decent comparison of flights, Felon versus TP here. And after that, Dan will give you his thoughts.
The Fortress was a fun disc. It seems like it's a lot more stable in the VIP as opposed to the tournament. It's a little bit more stable than a Convict, not quite as much as a Felon. I would say it falls right in between there. It's pretty decently fast. It held up great in the headwind today. It's a really good disc. All in all, I enjoyed it. Thanks.
So there you have it. The TP and VIP Fortress, one last time into the sunset. VIP is a little more overstable, TP is a little straighter, maybe more distance out of it for you. Both are fantastic discs. I hope this review was helpful, maybe informative. If it was, feel free to give it a thumbs up, share it, or even subscribe. Thanks, everybody.